Our next lesson we're going to be talking about is rational expressions. The first thing we're going to be talking about is radical and exponential form. An important thing to remember, if we have a to the 1/5 all raised to the 1/5, we can simplify that by saying a to the 1/5 raised to the 5th. Remember, whenever you have a power to a power, you multiply. So you have 1/5 times 5, which gives you 5/5. Or a, 5/5 is the same as saying 1. So a to the first power. So that's just going to be a. It's important to remember that if you have a to the 1/5 raised to the 5th, it's always going to be a. Similarly, x to the 1/3 raised to the 3rd is just going to give you x. B to the 1/9 raised to the 9th is just going to give you b. Any variable raised to a 1/5 times what that power is, so in that case 5, will give you just that variable back. That's one important thing to take from this lesson. These next 4 problems, we're going to go from radical form to exponential form. First of all, radical form is whenever you have a number underneath some sort of radical, a square root, cube root, fourth root, anything like that. Exponential form is any variable or number raised to a power, so like a squared would be exponential form. So in the following problem, write a to the 1/5 in radical form. We're simply going to write that as 5 roots of a, or the 5th root of a. Similarly, with write a to the 7/4 in radical form, again, the bottom number in the fraction, or in the exponent, is going to be 4, so that's going to be our 4th root of a, and then whatever number's on top is what a is raised to. So in this case, it would be 7. See in our first example how 5 was in the denominator, and that comes on the outside, and the number on the numerator is what a is raised to. So a to the 7/4 is the same as saying 4th roots of a to the 7th power. We can then convert back to exponential form. So write 8 roots of c in exponential form. That's the same as saying c, whatever c is raised to, is the top number, or the number in the numerator, and then whatever number is on the outside, or whatever the root is our denominator. So in this case, in exponential form, it would be c to the 1/8. So when we have to write c to this cube root of c to the -5th in exponential form, that's the same as saying c, whatever's on the inside is on top, or in the numerator, and then whatever's on the outside, or the cube root, would be the denominator. So our answer would be c to the -5/3 power. Remember, whenever you have a negative exponent, you need to flip your equation, or your variable, or number. So if we have a to the -1/4, this is actually 1 over a to the 1/4. And if we want to simplify it one more step, this is actually 1 over, the 4th root of a to the 1st power. So remember, with negative exponents, you need to flip it. If we were to have 1 over a to the -4th, this is the same as saying a to the 4th power. It goes both ways. In the next 2 problems, we are asked to evaluate each expression. So we want to simplify this all the way down. So we have -3,125 to the -1/5 power. Remember, whenever we have anything raised to the negative power, we need to flip it. So this is the same as saying 1 over -3,125 to the +1/5 power now. It's now +1/5 because we flipped it. So, to continue on, our 1 stays on top, and our -3,125 raised to the 1/5 is the same as saying the 5th root of 3,125. Remember, you still have that negative sign in there. We can take the -5th root of a number. We would get a negative number when we did that. So the fifth root of 3,125 is actually a whole number. It is 5. So, my answer when simplified down would give me the answer of negative 1/5. My next example, 256 to the 3/8 power, we would want to simplify again. So, 256 to the 3/8 is the same as saying the square root of, not the square root, sorry, the 8th root of 256 cubed. Remember, the number in the denominator goes on the outside, and that's your root, and the top number is what you raise your number by. So, if we take 256 cubed, we get 16777,216, or 16,777,216, and then we can take the 8th root of that. So this simplifies down actually nicely into a whole number of just 8. The 8th root of that is just 8. Now, on your calculator, you could take 256 raised to the 3/8 power, or you could simplify it a little bit more, like we did here. So remember those important rules when evaluating each expression. Remember the negative exponent flips, and remember any number, if we have a to the 1/5, all raised to the 5th, is always going to give us back what that letter or number is. Those are the two important rules to always remember.